Well, you're welcome back. We're switching gears now to politics, specifically in Ondo State. I mean, you may have been following the series of events in the state, but let's give you first-hand information this morning. And we're being joined by Mr. Donald Ojogo, who is a Commissioner for Information, Ondo State. He joins us in our Abuja studio. And Mr. Ayo Fadaka, the chairman of the PDP, also in Ondo State, joins us via phone this morning. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time on the program. Well, let me begin with Mr. Ojogo. Now, I mean, it's been a lot of events in the past week, 2 weeks. I mean, and for a lot of people that have not been following this from the scratch, they're wondering, how did we get here? Because it was kind of sudden for them. So if you could just walk us through, how did we get to this point, especially regarding the relationship between the governor and his deputy?
Thanks for having me, and good morning, viewers. It's been a long walk, and like you pointed out, we will not have enough time to be able to give a very apt and proper trajectory of how we got to this point. But like you pointed out, every other Nigerian, not only those of us in Ondo State, have followed up events in the last 9 or 10 months, leading to the eventual defection of the deputy governor from the ruling APC to the opposition PDP. Well, time may not permit us to also reel out most of those issues, but the totality of is the totality of the entire scenario could be summed up in a manner I would describe betrayed trust or betrayal trust between a governor and his deputy. You recall that Ondo State, before now, or before the last 10 months, had remained one of the most peaceful states in terms of the relationship between the governor and the deputy. For the first time in the history of the states, the governor delegated much power in an unusual manner to his deputy and ensured that the deputy became the driving force and was in charge of the political structuring, and the political structure rather, in the states. Everything that had to do with politics, Mr. Governor handed over to his deputy. As at that time, well, some persons who were versed in the intrigues or the intricacies of politics even warned Mr. Governor that what he was doing was a dangerous one that may likely come around to haunt him. But he was doing it in his own fairness and in his just mind, feeling that for him, he had to face governance to deliver the promises that he had made to the people. But because politics could not be totally divorced from governance, he decided to delegate the political responsibilities to his deputy, which he dispensed. But unknown to the governor, most of these privileges and opportunities that he granted to his deputy were deployed to fortify himself. I mean, in respect of the deputy governor. He was deploying these opportunities to fortify himself in readiness for the 2020 contest. But here we are today, even though the deputy governor had finally defected, he had finally left the party, he still insists he's not leaving he's not leaving government. Yeah, the truth remains that he is the deputy governor. Nobody is forcing him out. He carries a moral burden whether to continue to stay, even though he's hiding under the constitutional substitutes.
We'll get into some of those issues which you have raised, the morality or otherwise of that decision. But let's speak with Mr. Ayo Fadaka, who is the zonal publicity secretary, actually, of the PDP Southwest. He joins us via phone this morning. Mr. Fadaka, for Mr. Ojogo, he has mentioned betrayed trust and a few other allegations against the deputy governor of Ondo State. Well, he's a member of the PDP now. What do you have to say about those allegations?
What the Ondo State Commissioner for Information did say is none of our business in the PDP. Fact of the matter is that Agbola Ajayi, the deputy governor, has finally joined our party. He was a member of our party before he left to join APC some few years back. But as it is today, he's one of us, We are not concerned about the allegations of government concerning him. We only know that we have him. We have won his soul that we believe once went astray back into our fold. As a party, we encourage all those who feel they can be of essence, who are outside our fold, to come back into the party. And that is exactly what Agbola Ajay has done. We are not concerned about the workings, about the inner workings of the Akeredolu government. It's none of our business. The only business we continue to have with that government is to be of essence in the life of the people of the state that must do whatever it has to do maximally to bring the dividends of democracy to the state. And that is one area that it continues to fail till now.
Another issue that has raised some controversy also, and Mr. Ojogo referenced that, is whether or not the deputy governor should resign. Some are saying it's a matter of morality. What is the stance of the PDP regarding that?
Again, we are not concerned about his continuous stay in government. It is still the business of government, and Agbola Ajay, who was once a member of the APC. The only thing we have, the only thing that is of interest to the party today concerning Agbola Ajay is the fact that he is in our party and he has expressed his aspiration of wanting to become governor of the state or pick the governorship ticket of the party in our state. That is the only thing that is of concern to us in the PDP.
Just to be clear, are you saying you are not concerned about governance whatsoever in Ondo State? Because, I mean, you seem to be saying what happens in government does not concern you, yet you're a party that is looking to go into governance in the coming months. So what exactly do you mean there?
Well, when the Honorable Commissioner was speaking, he mentioned how the governor delegated so much authority, so much power, so much privileges to his deputy, and he went as far as saying that the deputy, rather than use that to work for the government or in the interest of the governor, deployed that to his personal fortification. That, to me, remains an allegation that is striving, or an opinion that is striving in the APC. As far as the people of the state do know, they do not know who is responsible for the numerous actions that the government has taken, either in the interest of the people or even otherwise. For us in the PDP, there are things that the Akeredolu government has done that we will never forgive them to have, that we still hold it accountable for. One, we've not forgotten the fact that when this government came to power, it decided to illegally dissolve the local government administrations that we have in the 18 local governments. It sent 18 local government chairmen who are members of our party out of job. It relieved them of their positions. The government relieved they relieved 203 councillors of their job and responsibilities to their community. The government again sent so many people that were members of our party that were in government out of governance. Of course, we hold all of them in the APC accountable to that. Because what has happened ever since was that the government continues to fail to allow democracy to thrive at the third tier of government. It has not been able to organize a local government election since then. So that government, the Akeredolu government, is only concerned about petty politicking and not doing things in favor, to better the lot of the people of this state. Again, we have not forgotten that Ondo State used to have the cheapest tertiary education ever and anywhere across this country. Students in Ondo State universities were paying just 25,000 tuition fees. The Akeredolu government came in. Of course, Agbola Ajay continues to remain a part of that government in any case. They came into government and they hijacked that to about 200,000, resulting into so many dropouts. Today, the Ondo State Polytechnic can no longer have the number of student intake that they used to have because there's a big sum of money that people, their parents.
Let's take some of these issues you have raised, Mr. Fadaka, up with Mr. Ojogo, the Commissioner for Information. Well, you heard him. Those two allegations in particular are quite significant. Some would say that the government of your government dissolved the local government apparatus, the government in the state, and hiked education fees. These are allegations. Maybe there are more. How do you react?
Well, yes, I listened to him quite well. You said the allegations are significant. Yeah, they can only be significant to the extent and to the effect of their truthfulness. The truth is that he talked about governance, good governance, that he said has not really been properly felt in the state. Well, I would not want to agree with Mr. Ayo Fadaga for the fact that, well, for a very long time, he has been out of Akure, the Ondo state capital. And for a start, I want to let him know that I know it's a family house. His family house is even third. If there is a road leading to your family house that has been constructed by an incumbent government, I think that is an aspect of good governance. If the family house where the zonal public secretary resides has a befitting mother and child hospital that have been upgraded to a global standard, to a world-class standard, I think it is an aspect of good governance. Mr. Fadaka talked about, particularly, I want to personalize it, but the PDP is the spokesperson of the PDP. If they avow here that they are not bothered about what happens in the state, that shows the extent to which politicians could take politics.
Mr. Jogo, just one moment. Just one moment. You have not. Please speak to the specific issues. Just one moment. Please speak to the specific issues of the local government administrations in the state that your government, he said, has dissolved, and that of the education, the tertiary education in the school. You know, in the state where fees have been hiked. Please speak to those two specifically, please.
Specifically, I needed to lay this foundation. But going specifically, the local government structures were not dissolved by the governor. You recall that perhaps somebody may have forgotten. When we came on board in 2017, those governments at the third tier level, at the third tier, were untouched. They had remained there, but some persons went to court. Mr. Governor insisted that since they were elected, that he was not going to touch them, he was not going to dissolve them. And they remained in that manner until a High Court of competent jurisdiction declared the election into those local government councils illegal. And there was no appeal. Once there was no legal action to repudiate the verdict of a competent court of jurisdiction, there was nothing the governor could do other than to dissolve. So it's unlike other scenarios, much unlike other scenarios where state governors come in and immediately dissolve councils. No. Governor Akeredolu took his time to allow the legal process to go through its length. It served the entire length at the High Court in the states before the local government councils were dissolved. So the governor did not send people to the labor markets. If it means that the action of the governor by obeying the courts, decision of the courts, means sending people to the labor markets, I think it is not proper. It is an illogical conclusion. Then the area of the schools, I want to say today that amongst all the states, using the Southwest as a yardstick, among all the states in the Southwest, Ondo State students in the tertiary institutions pay less than every other state in the South, Southwest in particular. I challenge the PDP to bring up their comparison from Ekiti. Let them bring it from Ogun. We know what is paid in other states. I don't want to be tempted to call names or to mention states and the exact amounts that are paid. But I challenge the PDP to bring these things out to see whether we charge more in Ondo State or our fees are lesser in
Okay,
Ondo State.
that's one. Very quickly, before we move on to Mr. Fadaka to confirm or refute, how is the Ondo State government dealing with the fact that the governor is in one political party, the deputy governor is in another political party, he is still in government? How is the government relating with him? Is the office of the deputy governor still functional actively?
He has the power. No one has the power to make the office of the deputy governor dysfunctional. It is not possible. The man has been there as deputy governor, even though he had defected formally last week to the PDP. Well, in the real sense of it, and practically speaking, he had not been part of government. He has excused himself from the activities of government. But nobody, not even Mr. Governor, decided that his office should be touched. It's not possible. That could not
Does he have any
done.
specific
So
function?
the way
Does
we
he have any
relate
specific function?
could not
Mr.
even
Jogo?
be an issue.
Just one moment. Does he have any specific function that he performs as deputy governor?
So many functions that he was performing as deputy governor, and as it is, since he refused to perform those functions, and he refused to come to the office, in the last 5 months, we can count the number of times he had come to the office. But that does not mean that those functions were taken away.
Let's go back to
forcefully.
Mr. Fadaka. You are in the PDP, and the deputy governor of your state is a member of your party in the opposing party to the governor. How do you think he should be conducting himself?
Well, the Constitution says that for every governor that is contesting, they should have a running mate. And that is why there's always a deputy governor to assist the governor. The governor picked him. We were not part of whatever they were doing when they decided to run with each other. And if they still feel comfortable running with each other, we do not want to have an input into it. Ordinarily, it is up to Agbola Ajayi to do what I think is honorable by resigning himself if he feels that he could no longer cooperate with the man who placed a level of trust in him to assist him in doing his job. So as far as I'm concerned, that is not in the realm of what the party should say is a moral burden. And I think the deputy governor, probably if he's listening to me now or not, knows what to do, because there must be a level of standards, ethical standards that people must keep even in politics. I am of the opinion that politics itself is not bad. It is the way people place it sometimes that wants to make people feel that politicians don't have a conscience. A good number of us do have that level of conscience. So it is up to the governor and his party to know what to do. I mean, to do their appraisals if he still have a running mate in Agbola Ajayi. And it is up to Agbola Ajayi to come to a conclusion if he's still running or still a member of the accreditation.
Just one moment. Very, very quickly. Do you think, what's your take on the fact that, there are allegations that he will be impeached? Do you think that's a good idea, or you think he should just resign honorably?
Again, I think impeachment is expected to be done, or that process is said to be initiated if it is considered that the person to be impeached has committed high crimes against the system. But again, will the campaign of Agbola, can it be construed to be a high crime against the state? That again is another question that must be laid to rest by those who are pursuing this or that. To me, personally, I don't think it is, because the Constitution gives us, everybody, the freedom of association. And
in place to leave it, Mr. Ayo Fadaka, who is the Zonal Publicity Secretary Southwest of the PDP. Thank you so much for your thoughts. We also spoke with Mr. Donald Jogo, the Commissioner for Information in Ondo State. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts with us on the program today.